Here are today's top stories. Overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Arthur Carandang is dismissed from service for graft and corruption and betrayal of public trust. The Supreme Court affirms the indictment of former Senator Jinggoy Estrada in connection to the multi-billion peso pork barrel scam. Malacanang reiterates President Duterte's opposition to the establishment of a casino in Boracay. And the first phase of the Mindanao Railway project is set to begin in January 2019. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang has dismissed overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Arthur Carandang from service. In the decision signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Carandang was found liable for graft and corruption and betrayal of public trust. The dismissal order was released for more than 10 months after Carandang accused President Rodrigo Duterte and his family of accumulating ill-gotten wealth amounting to billions of pesos. Medialdea says Carandang was clearly only interested to broadcast information against the president. He says the official also violated the disclosure and misuse of confidential information to give undue advantage to Duterte's critic, Senator Antonio Trillanes. The decision carries with it the cancellation of eligibility, perpetual disqualification from holding public office, barring from taking civil service examinations, and the forfeiture of retirement benefits of Carandang. The international terror group ISIS has claimed responsibility for the bombing that killed 11 persons in Lamitan, Basilan. The Department of National Defense, however, urges the public not to raise or fuel speculations on the incident. Benj Bondoc has the story.
Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana urges the public not to speculate on the bombing that killed 11 persons in Lamitan City, Basilan. Lorenzana says authorities are looking into all possible angles, including terrorism. The international terror group ISIS earlier claimed responsibility for the explosion, further saying that they have killed 15 soldiers. ISIS posted through the website Site Intelligence Group a picture of a Moroccan national identified as Abu Katir al-Maghribi as the one responsible for the bombing. PNP spokesman Senior Superintendent Benigno Dorana says they will mobilize all resources to find and hold liable those responsible for the attack. Meanwhile, Senator Risa Ontiveros expressed her condolences to the families of the victims of the horrifying attack. Senator Nancy Binay called the bloody Lamitan incident an act of cowardice that has no place in a civilized society. Meanwhile, Senator Panfilo Lacson said if the incident was indeed the first case of suicide bombing in the country, the government should immediately act to prevent a series of such terroristic acts from hitting other highly populated urban centers. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
In a related development, the AFP is considering the possibility that other groups may also be involved in the foiled bombing attempt in Basilan. AFP spokesperson Colonel Edgar Arevalo made this announcement Wednesday following reports that the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, claimed responsibility for the Basilan incident. Arevalo said any terrorist group or organization can conveniently claim responsibility and ride on the incident for their glorification and as instruments of propaganda. The AFP, however, is not discounting the possibility that the ISIS are indeed responsible, although other groups besides the Abu Sayyaf group could be responsible as well. Reports indicated that troops near the Magwakit detachment in Barangay Colonia, Lamitan City intercepted a van containing improvised explosive devices early Tuesday morning. The IEDs were intended for targets in downtown Lamitan City and allegedly masterminded by veteran Abu Sayyaf leader Furuji Indama. Arevalo added that the attack was in response to the growing number of ASG terrorists voluntarily surrendering to government forces and causing the bandit group to lose ground in Basilan. The Supreme Court, or SC, has upheld the findings of the Office of the Ombudsman indicting former Senator Jose Jinggoy Estrada for plunder and graft in connection with his alleged involvement in the multi-billion peso pork barrel scam. Rom Dulfo has the story.
Voting 6-4, the Supreme Court upheld the Office of the Ombudsman's finding of probable cause against former Senator Jinggoy Estrada for the crime of plunder, as well as for violations of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. In September 2017, the Sandigan Bayan allowed Estrada to post a 1.33 million peso bail for his temporary liberty. Of the three former senators charged in connection with the pork barrel scam case, only Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. remains in detention, as the SC also allowed Juan Ponce Enrile to post bail in 2015. Estrada, a son of former President and now Manila Mayor Joseph Estrada, was indicted by the Ombudsman before the Sandigan Bayan for allegedly pocketing over 180 million in kickbacks from alleged scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles. He allegedly allocated portions of his Priority Development Assistance Fund, or PDAF, as a legislator to bogus projects through non-government organizations affiliated with Napoles. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Malacanang welcomes the support shown by Senate President Tito Soto for the passage of the second package of the train law. After being briefed by the Department of Finance on the benefits of Train 2, Soto said that he was now ready to push for its passage. This comes despite Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri's statement that nobody from the Senate is interested to pass the measure. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque meanwhile reiterates that Train 2 does not levy new taxes. Roque explained that Train 2 will lower corporate income tax and remove privileges on not paying locators in economic zones. He says this delivers a more even playing field in business, but at the same time decreases the tax burden of corporations. In his third State of the Nation address, Duterte asked Congress to pass all the remaining packages of the train by year end. Still to come, Malacanang reiterates President Duterte's opposition to the establishment of a casino in Boracay Island. Experts expect the Philippine economy to be one of the fastest growing in ASEAN. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
The new Clark City will bring in several hundred enterprises and billions in new investments. The excellent logistics and prospective rail link to Subic will make this area an ideal place to build manufacturing, especially food processing and other export industries. This will house, initially, the backup facilities for all national government agencies to ensure operational continuity in the event of a major calamity in Metro Manila. The mammoth investment will have a tremendous impact on investment growth and job generation. It will stimulate the economic expansion and will help us realize a 7% or better GDP growth rate per year.
In addition to the build, we also have the jobs. Like they said, 30% of these projects, 30%, there's a is the labor component. So you can imagine how many. And as of May 29, we have a jobs portal, which at this point almost 15,000 jobs have been posted there and are available. These are all jobs related to infrastructure projects.
Our vision of having a centralized government center is finally in the works to becoming a reality. By 2020, we will see the National Government Administrative Center completed and fully operational. The project is a testament to the government's commitment to spread growth to the regions while easing congestion in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, and Metro Davao.
Once you complete the terminal and you have the O&M and you have the operation, certainly you have a workable airport that will add to the magnet and charm of the Clark Green City. Meron ho tayong railroad magbuhat Tutuban papuntang Malolos, papuntang San Fernando, Angeles, and onwards to the Clark, and onwards initially to the airport and onwards to the Clark Green City. Expect the completion of this railway track in 2.5 years. In 1.5 years for Tuban, Malolos, and we expect to complete the entire gamut in less than 4 years.
President Rodrigo Duterte promised that the recalibrated war on drugs will be relentless and chilling, but will properly observe the rule of law. Palace spokesperson Harry Roque made this remark in reaction to PNP Chief Director General Oscar Albayalde's statement that the police is recalibrating the drug war to be in sync with the national policy. Albayalde added that the drug war will also be relentless in monitoring the whereabouts of drug users, street pushers, and surrenderers. The PNP chief said it will send a strong message about the certainty of punishment to high-value targets, their protectors, and patrons. Albayalde said it will be relentless, but it will be within the rule of law. Roque also pointed out that only criminals, not law-abiding citizens, should be afraid by President's warning. In his State of the Nation address on July 23, Duterte said his war on drugs is far from over. Duterte added that protests from human rights groups and the church could not deter him from continuing his drug war. President Rodrigo Duterte insists that the government will not allow the establishment of casinos on Boracay despite plans by a gaming firm to push through with its project there. More on this story from Miguel Hill.
Malacanang insists that all investments except casinos are still welcome in Boracay. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque stressed in the palace briefing that President Duterte will not allow the construction of a gambling establishment in the top tourist destination. Roque explained that Duterte does not like casinos because they encourage certain types of gambling activities. Earlier, Roque warned private corporations from proceeding with the construction of establishments despite the president's firm belief that Boracay Island is a forestal and agriculture area. Macau-based Galaxy Entertainment Group and its Filipino partner AB Leisure Exponent Incorporated earlier revealed the plan to build a $500 million integrated resort casino complex on a 23-hectare property in Barangay Manok-Manok on Boracay. But despite a private entity being given a license to proceed with construction, Roque described the license as conditional and provisional. On July 4, Duterte said that he is considering the creation of a committee that will identify the landowners of Boracay Island, which is currently undergoing rehabilitation. He had vowed in an earlier speech that Boracay's land will be returned to its rightful owners. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The server for the Bureau of Internal Revenue's core system will be relocated from its head office in Quezon City after a system glitch earlier this month. BIR Commissioner Cesar Dulay says the Department of Information and Communications Technology advised the need to transfer in order to address the issue. BIR Deputy Commissioner for Information Systems Group Lani David also said DICT officials have committed to start the migration of the system Tuesday this week. She also clarified that the glitch affected the agency's core system, but not the electronic form and payment system that is being used by taxpayers. Earlier, Dulay said they continue to be in communication with the DICT officials following the technological issues that also affected websites of several state agencies on July 3. The Philippine economy is expected to accelerate by over 6% this year and the next, leading the ASEAN 5 or the fastest-growing members of the ASEAN. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development explains that government spending and public investment will likely drive economic growth. The Philippines, along with Vietnam, is expected to lead growth among the ASEAN 5, which also includes Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. It is also projected that the Philippines will surpass the average growth rates of the ASEAN 10 at over 5% for 2018 or next year, and of emerging Asia at 6.6% and 6.5%. Dr. Kensuke Tanaka, head of the Asia desk at the OECD Development Center, is optimistic that economic growth can still exceed 6.7% depending on political and economic situations and on the level of risks. Tanaka says exports and infrastructure may be the keys for further growth. 9 business establishments in General Santos City are facing possible charges for violating the Social Security law. The erring employers were uncovered during a series of surprise inspections on Monday conducted by the Social Security system. SSS Senior Vice President and Chief Legal Counsel Voltaire Aga says some establishments failed to register their workers with the agency and pay their contributions, while others registered their employers and made deductions but failed to remit them to the agency. The inspection team issued show cause orders on the delinquent establishments, which included a beauty salon, motor parts store, and eatery, and directed the owners to respond and comply with the order within 15 days. The move is part of the agency's Run After Contribution Evaders campaign. Under the Social Security Act of 1997, erring employers may face imprisonment of up to 12 years and would be required to settle their delinquencies and corresponding penalties. Up next, the first phase of the Mindanao Railway project is set to begin in January 2019. The PBA downgrades the penalty imposed on San Miguel's Arwind Santos in the Commissioner's Cup Finals. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders. The Department of Transportation is set to start the construction of the first phase of the Mindanao Railway project in January 2019. MRP Deputy Project Manager Pat Maybello Rui Vivar says the first phase of the project covers 102 kilometers with 8 stations starting from Tagum City, Panabo, Carmen, Mudyang in Davao City, Magtuod, Toril, Santa Cruz, and Digos City. It is expected to be finished within 3 years before the term of President Rodrigo Duterte ends. As a project financed by China Official Development Assistance, the Chinese government will give a short list of those who will bid for the project, and the Philippines will choose among the shortlisted contractors. Rui Vivar says the local government units will play a big part in the construction of the Mindanao Railway. Rui Vivar has asked LGUs to start negotiating for the rights of way, as it will be more transparent if they do the work. Close to 16,000 security forces will be deployed around Davao City to secure the Kadayawan Festival from August 9 to 20. Benito de Leon, Chief of Public Safety and Security Command Center, said the city government will be deploying more forces during the year's festival following the Basilan explosion on Tuesday. Task Force Davao has implemented stricter measures on checkpoints in and out of Davao City. Senior Inspector Maria Teresita Gaspan, the spokesperson of the Davao City Police Office, said the deployment of forces will start this week. She says around 6,000 DCPO personnel and police auxiliary will be deployed during major activities. Organizers said this year's festivity promises to be bigger in terms of tourist and visitor arrivals, which are expected to hit over 200,000. The Philippine Basketball Association has lightened the flagrant foul penalty to impose on San Miguel's Arwin Santos, but he will still have to pay a 5,000 peso fine. Santos was slapped with a flagrant foul penalty too, which resulted to his ejection from Game 2 of the Commissioner's Cup Finals against Ginebra. After he complained about the supposedly harsh call, Commissioner Willie Marshall agreed to lighten the penalty. However, Santos was not spared of monetary sanctions. Fellow beerman Reynaldo Balkman also slapped with a 5,000 peso fine for his own flagrant foul penalty won during Game 2. Chris Ross, who like Santos was ejected on Sunday night, was fined with 2,600 peso for 2 technical fouls. Joe Devance, who got entangled with Ross in the sequence, got a 1,000 peso fine. The same fine was slapped to Kevin Ferrer. The Pangasinan Police has been hailed as the most outstanding provincial police station for its countless accomplishments in the community. More on this from Maricor Zapata.
It's the community's good relations with the policemen. The Pangasinan Police Provincial Office says this made it get the coveted National Award for the Outstanding Police Provincial Office on Police Community Relations recently. Chief Inspector Norman Florentino is this year's Outstanding Police Community Relations Junior Police Commissioned Officer. He says the Provincial Police Office's active information drive on Facebook, radio, and other media platforms has made it all possible. Florentino says some of their projects are unique and implemented only in the province, such as the post call Like Mo Share Mo on Facebook and the organizing of the Salaam Police Volunteers, which include the Muslim citizens. The Pangasinan Police also has a radio program called the Usapang Police, where listeners could ask guest police officers anything related to law enforcement. Another program of the Provincial Police Office is the Dugong Police Program, or the holding of bloodletting activities where the local police are active participants. Florentino has vowed to sustain the programs and projects that have helped the local police win the award. He has also promised to establish more for the good of the communities in the province of Pangasinan. Senior Superintendent Wilson Lopez, Acting Police Provincial Director, says the support of the media also plays a significant role in the police community relations of the entire province. Other awardees from the province in the regional level are Senior Superintendent Ronald Lee, this year's Outstanding Senior Police Commissioned Officer, and SPO3 Reggie Fernandez of the Alaminos City Police as Outstanding Police Community Relations Senior Police Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. Meanwhile, the Dagupan City Police Station is this year's Outstanding City Police Station on the regional level. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's top stories. Overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Arthur Carandang is dismissed from service for graft and corruption and betrayal of public trust. The Supreme Court affirms the indictment of former Senator Jinggoy Estrada in connection to the multi-billion peso pork barrel scam. Malacanang reiterates President Duterte's opposition to the establishment of a casino in Boracay. And the first phase of the Mindanao Railway project is set to begin in January of 2019. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.